right, let's see if we got 6 feet, and we are good.
Good afternoon, good morning, and good night, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for joining us for the live Raise launch party. We have thousands of attendees joining us today, and we are so excited to have you for the first ever completely virtual EverTrue conference. I'm Megan Jager. I'm one of your co-hosts for Raise today, along with my friend, Mike Nagel.
Hey everyone, I am super excited. Raise is here. It's so great to see you. Let's get this party started. We are going to be inspired. We're going to have fun. We're going to get new ideas. It's going to be an absolute blast. And it all starts by getting the chat going. So Megan's going to tell you how to do that.
Yep. So there's a chat screen or a chat box on the right side of your screen. Go ahead and fill your name in and which institution you're representing today to kick off the fun. Prizes will be included. If you're checking us out on LinkedIn, head over to raiseByEverTrue.com to join the chat there. All right, should we get things started?
Yeah, let's get things going. We are going to try to read off answers and who's checking in and all that on the chat. We're on about a 20-second delay. We're 20 seconds into the future for y'all, so just bear with us. I will read off some stats though. So today we have more than 2,500 people tuning in to tell us. I mean, they're just ready to think differently about advancement. They're ready to choose a better way to raise.
Great.
It's super exciting.
Let's get that chat going right away. So head over there, fill in your name and institution, and let's see where we have people coming in from today.
Western Kentucky, St. Mark's School, Ohio University, Virginia Tech, Alaska, Arkansas, Lamar. This is awesome.
Great. St. Ed's, VCU, love it. We got everybody from across the country.
Yeah, we have more than 400 institutions represented. It's really, really exciting to see this like groundswell grow of people who are just looking to think differently and have a little bit of fun and enjoy the summer as well. We're going to shout out the 4 organizations with the top number of signups. That's Emory University in Atlanta with 58, Baylor with more than 40, Brandeis, one of your customers, right, Megan?
Just went live, yep.
Welcome, Brandeis. It's good to have you, as well as the University of Virginia with more than 40 people as well.
Wow.
Lots of people tuning in all over the country, all over the world even. I think we had signups from the UK, Australia, Singapore.
Amazing.
It's pretty cool.
Yay, good stuff.
All right, so welcome, everybody. And we are going to give away a bunch of prizes as well. So we're going to give away a year's supply of Jenny's ice cream. It's the best. Craft ice cream delivered to your door in a super cool styrofoam dry ice combination package thing. So 2 of you, whoever's the funnest in the chat, will get a year's supply of Jenny's ice cream. We're also giving away a ton of Summer of Raise swag, and we're going to be asking for your involvement on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook and all the social media. Brent Grinna, our founder and CEO, is not physically present today, but he is running social. And so, go at Brent Grinna, at EverTrue, and tell him you said hi, all right? So lots of good stuff to send your way. So get ready. We're going to ask the first question that gets you on your way to prizes.
Yeah, and I just want to have people pause and appreciate what a year's worth of ice cream actually means.
That's true.
I mean,
That's
that
true.
is pretty incredible. So get involved in the chat. The first question we want to ask today is slippers, socks, bare feet, shoes, sneakers. What are you wearing to Raise? We no longer have the business casual, attire that's necessary. So tell us what you're wearing on your feet to Raise today.
This is the first time, well, yesterday for our run through and today is the first time I've had sneakers on in months. I've been walking around my house in bare feet. I've got the sandal tan lines from like working outside. It's and you're going with bare toes. So good for you.
It's only warm in New England for a few months, so gotta capitalize on the time when I can.
Yeah.
So yeah, sandals all the time.
And this is also like literally the first time I've put on pants and not shorts, since like maybe mid-April.
We have so many people who are also coming in with bare feet. I love it.
Love it. Yeah, I see slippers. Hey, Nick, we see you. Caitlin, fuzzy socks for life. The comfort of bare feet on plush carpet. Hey, Georgina, how's Manhattan, Kansas treating you? Good to see you. Fuzzy socks. This is awesome.
Platform wedges, but only because she's in the office. Yes.
Oh,
okay.
good for you. Good for you.
This is awesome.
So yeah, so we'll keep the chat going. Ask questions, share reflections, talk to each other. Raise is all about having fun, learning new ideas, and even meeting people. And we can still do that in this fully virtual environment. And so pretty good stuff. What do we have coming up?
Yeah, well, that was undoubtedly the most important question that we had to ask today. So now that we got that out of the way, I am thrilled to be able to welcome Brent Grina, Evertrue's own founder and CEO, to help officially kick off this launch party.
Greetings and welcome to the Summer of Raise. Now it's late July, and by now we hoped we would have more visibility into the fall, but 2020 continues to be a challenging year personally and professionally for many of us. But that being said, it is moments like this when we are all pushed to try new things and to innovate, and what we want to showcase today and in the coming weeks are the best examples of the bright spots that have emerged as a result of the situation that we are all dealing with. And I want to start by sharing one of my personal bright spots over the last couple of weeks. My family and I started quarantining in Rhode Island in early March. And for 4 months, we basically didn't see anyone besides ourselves and some very close friends. And my wife and I both grew up in Iowa, and we, like many of you, were missing our families. And we were trying to think about ways that we could safely get back to the Midwest to be able to see our parents this summer. And I was reading an article one morning that was commenting that RV sales this year were through the roof and that camping was at an all-time high. And it really sparked a thought. My wife and I first met at a campground in Wisconsin 20 years ago. And so we were very comfortable with the thought of camping. And on a whim, we decided to buy an RV and load up our family and make our way across the Midwest. And it has been an incredible experience so far. My wife has driven most of the miles while I've been conducting Zoom calls and company meetings and webinars from either the passenger seat or the little makeshift office we have in the back. And it has been really terrific to be able to see our kids enjoy that environment. We made lightning bug lanterns the other night in Indiana, and we're looking forward to making our way back to Iowa here very shortly. What we want to know from all of you is, what are your good vibes? What are your bright spots? We know it has been challenging for every single person that has joined us today. But we also are excited to learn, how has this period so far in 2020 sparked positivity and opportunity in your own lives, personally or professionally? And in order to understand what kind of experience you've all had, we are going to invite you to share your good vibes and tag us on social media to kick off the Summer of Raise. So it's at Evertrue, at Brent Grina, or hashtag Summer of Raise. All you have to do is share one picture, one video. Could be from family, friends, could be work, could be a Zoom call that you did with old high school friends that otherwise never would have happened. And by doing that, we will return the favor and give you a present. All of you that share will get a present. And some of you will win the grand prize, which is an amazing shipment of Jenny's ice cream. So we're excited to hear your good vibes. We're going to continue to share ours throughout the series today and in the coming weeks. And we're just so excited to welcome you to the Summer of Raise. I do want to just outline what that means. There is today's live kickoff, which is a 2-hour session that we think is really going to highlight some of the most progressive leaders who are looking at this moment of disruption as an opportunity to innovate and to advance the way that we are building relationships with our constituents. These are going to be some incredible stories and inspiring leaders that hopefully can get your wheels spinning no matter where you are today. Over the coming weeks, we're going to be introducing 45-minute rapid fire sessions. We know everybody has Zoom fatigue right now, and so we've tried to curate the best stories, the best bright spots and good vibes so that you all can continue to get access to new ideas and see people who are pushing the envelope and innovating at a time of such uncertainty. So we hope that you enjoy that series. We're blown away by the fact that over 2,000 people have joined us from all over the world. And that is frankly reflective of the opportunity you all have to scale your reach to your alumni populations, to your donor communities all over the world, that goes way beyond the traditional ways that we would have reached people. And we thank you so much for joining us. And so with that, we're excited to kick off the Summer of Raise. Buckle up. Here we go.
Okay, everyone, get on LinkedIn, get on Twitter, tag Evertrue, and use hashtag Summer of Raise. We want to hear from you. Everybody has already started to tell us what their good vibes are for 2020, but if you haven't, tell us what's good in your world right now. What's making you happy? What's driving you every single day? Mike, let's start off with you.
Yeah, we want to go out and give 2,000 people, a free gift. So go ahead, pop that on social media, tag us, tag Brent, and we'll send something nice your way. My good vibes, it's got to be family time and spending time in the great outdoors. I have the privilege of living in New Hampshire. We live right in front of the farm where my beautiful, wonderful, amazing wife, Sonia, grew up. And we've just spent a ton of time. She's got raised beds that we built, and she's showing me how to garden. I know nothing. We're picking blueberries or going on hikes. And, some mornings we get up like super early before any of the kids, and we have coffee on our porch swing and watch the sun come up, and it's like the best thing ever.
That sounds amazing. Yeah, I see in the chat a lot of family time, a lot of gardening. I am spending a lot of time with family as well, especially with my dog. I think pets are the happiest that they've ever been during this period of time. Gardening as well, but I've yet to see the fruits of my labor. And one thing that I am particularly excited about is I am learning how to golf again. I golfed a little bit when I was younger, learned how, but it's been about 20 years. So if anybody has any tips or tricks that they want to throw in the chat, I'll take those too. They will be helpful as I prepare to hit the tour next year.
That sounds good. I wish I could go out there. Maybe I can caddy for you.
Yeah, there you go.
So, I already got my golf outfit on though. I feel like this is appropriate for the links. So, just shout outs. I'm looking on Twitter. Diane, good vibes, quality time with family, enjoying nature. Hey, Kendra, neighborhood walks. We're getting those steps in. We got the 1,000,000 step challenge here at Evertrue, which is going awesome. Yeah, everybody's counting steps and getting those steps in. Jeff, hey, new home office. Look at those guitars. This is awesome.
Running, decorating, organizing at home. I'm doing that too.
Family time, being silly during the pandemic. Michelle, I see you. Jeff, looks like you're diving in the deep end with Evertrue. Thanks for being with us. This is awesome.
This is so fun.
So let's keep the good vibes going all day long. While you keep sharing that, post on LinkedIn, post on Twitter, tag Evertrue, Brent Grinna, at Brent Grinna, or hashtag Summer of Raise. Pop them in the chat. Get all those good vibes out there. We really hope that Raise 2020 is one of your personal highlights, and we have an incredible lineup today, like Brent mentioned. So coming up first, we're going to have Josh Newton, who's the SVP at Emory University. Then Brent is going to retake the virtual stage with his keynote. Dr. Shirley Collado of Ithaca College. She's the president of Ithaca College and my alma mater. She's talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion in advancement. Absolutely amazing conversation. We've got a special happy hour event. We have a special check-in, first ever for Raise, live from a backyard pool. Live on tape from a backyard pool. We've got Mark from the OSU Foundation coming in. We have more inspiration, lightning rounds of ideas, and more giveaways. It's gonna be awesome. So let's do this. In between each session, we'll have chat. We'll be in live, and Megan and I are your guides to this journey of Raise today. So we're really, really excited. Don't minimize that window.
Yeah, and make sure your entire team is signed up for the full conference so that you can enjoy a summer full of amazing spotlight sessions. We know how hard it is to block time in your calendar, so take the time now to block your calendar. We'll be sending out 2 to 3 videos per week, which really means 30 to 45 minutes of incredible professional development all summer long for your entire team for free. So no excuses, set aside the time now, and let's choose a better way to raise together. Mike, we would be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsors. They certainly helped us get to this point and made all the magic happen today.
For sure.
We have really incredible sponsors in ThankView, the best one-to-one video service platform out there, Windfall, always up-to-date net worth information, and Emma, an amazing platform, beautiful platform, next level segmentation for email marketing. Each of our partners is hosting one of the spotlight sessions today, so be sure to tune in. And then probably my favorite part is an extra shout out for our 5-time Raise attendees. They've been with us from the very beginning, so we need to call out these people. We have Anthony Barbuto from Boston University, Juan Benya and Mike Riopel from Williams College, Jeannie Patch from Salem State University, and Kathy McCann and Beth Sieber from Union College.
Absolutely unbelievable. I would just like to make it known that I feel like I should be on that slide too, because I did attend Raise before I was part of the Ever crew, although now they pay me to put on ridiculous outfits and be here. As Megan mentioned, we've got like 30 sessions to share. We're going to do like 5 or 6 today, and we've got 25 to come. We're going to split them out over the rest of the summer, so you definitely want to stay tuned. These are the most fun, forward-thinking people in advancement. And when I think of fun and forward-thinking, I think of Josh Newton, who is kicking off Raise on tape from Emory University. Josh is the Senior Vice President of Advancement and Alumni Engagement there. And he's our first 3-time main stage speaker. And anytime I get to talk to Josh or hear him speak, I am just absolutely inspired and blown away. And I'm challenged to think differently and think bigger. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome to Josh Newton.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Atlanta, Georgia, and the campus of Emory University. I wish we were together in Boston. I love the Raise conference. It's one of my favorite of the year. I've presented at Raise twice, so I hope you're not getting tired of me. I'm going to try to spice it up today, be even a little more provocative than normal, talk about a lot of the influences to our sector right now, in particular, the higher education, philanthropic sector, and for those of us in Tier 1 research universities who are dealing with both healthcare and higher ed issues, and some of the challenges that I think we're facing. I really believe that over the last several years, last many years, as those who've challenged our sector have come forward and done so, that we can be a little tone deaf, that we're not listening carefully and thoughtfully to what they have to say, that we're not hearing them with clarity in terms of how we actually need to change the way we go about doing our business. And I think we are in for some significant shifts in our culture, shifts in the way we go about doing our work across our organizations around advancement and alumni engagement. And I'm going to talk about that today and what I believe is influencing us, where I believe we need to be more thoughtful in how we listen, and how I believe it needs to impact our work as we move forward. I often reference the TED Talk by Dan Pallotta. The way we think about charity is dead wrong. When I was at UConn as president of the foundation, my senior team listened to that TED Talk. I made my board listen to that TED Talk because I wanted them to understand that the investment in philanthropy was something worth investing in, and that we needed to invest more in philanthropy, even in higher ed, especially in higher ed, to produce the kind of results that we're expecting. And yet I turned a deaf ear in minute 16 when he didn't talk as favorably about higher education and healthcare philanthropy and moved on. So I was excited about what he had to say, even though it wasn't necessarily as positive as I wanted about the work that we're doing in higher ed and the share of philanthropy that goes to higher education and healthcare. I then listened to the Malcolm Gladwell series. It's the 6th episode, and it's called My Little 100 Million. And it really takes on the issue of what I call principal gifts, transformative philanthropy, and the outsized, quote unquote, university endowments at many universities across the country. And are they necessary? And are they needed? So again, there's this noise around our sector that continues to beat a little bit of a drum. I'll fast forward a little bit to the moment we're in today, right? We're not in person because of a global pandemic. And what I'm seeing is this conversation getting louder. And it was a conversation between Anderson Cooper and Sanjay Gupta with Professor Scott Galloway. And he says we're in for seismic changes. within higher education. But he talks about things like the significant rising cost of higher education and how higher education hasn't changed that much. And what do rising costs lead to? Rising costs lead to increased student debt loads. These are the same conversations our donors are hearing. So now we have these graduating students with higher debt loads, right? We have larger graduating classes, which impact our ability to make any difference in alumni giving rates. And yet every president, provost, and dean that I talk to wants to talk to me about alumni giving rates. And why aren't we increasing our alumni giving rates? But we don't want to have that conversation about the rising cost of higher education, the rising debt loads of our students. We don't want to have that conversation about endowments and large endowments. And yet all of that, I almost say that I feel is closing in around us. And if those are the factors that are influencing our community of alumni and donors, and yet our behaviors are not changing in terms of how we're engaging with them, right? The phone call at dinner, the direct mail programs, the tons of email that we're throwing at them. Maybe we're even texting them now, right? I talked to our SGA president who was offended that he was asked to make a senior class gift. Offended that he was asked because he took on debt. It cost a lot to go here. Emory has a large endowment. Why would you need my support? Are we changing the conversation to adapt to this new generation of students and alumni? Are we changing our behaviors within our advancement shops to truly personalize our engagement and experience for our students, for our young alums, for our older alums, and for our community? I really did myself in this regard over the July 4th weekend. In the background, I turned on Patriot Act by Hassan Minhaj. And I started hearing things that I agreed with. I heard him say that higher education may be the only thing that can elevate people out of poverty. He also said 90% of students coming from low-income families can move out of poverty because of an advanced degree. So I stopped what I was doing and I started listening to the episode. But that's not where it went. He too took on the rising cost of higher education, the increased endowment sizes at our universities. And I would say that he promulgated some inaccurate information. He said, when you get that call at home at night to give to your university, it goes in this thing called an endowment. Well, not necessarily, as we know. That's not where all gifts go. He went further to say, and it started to hurt, but I kept watching. He said that giving to your university is actually making a gift to a hedge fund with the name of your university. That's what our young alums, that's what our older alums are hearing out in the world. They're hearing, why would you support that institution, this charity, this organization? And they're certainly hearing that in the space of higher education. So my argument today is that we have to take on these conversations and we have to address them. Now, let me acknowledge, taking on a conversation about the size of university endowments at a university like Emory with a $7+ billion endowment, you are at the wrong place if you're defending endowments, right? That is not the conversation in our sector that's going to win the argument. I can talk about the fact that our law school only has a $50 million endowment, or our business school has a $100 million endowment that is small, and I can start making my case in the argument. I've lost the conversation. My question is, have we changed our behaviors at the baseline? You've heard me talk before about changing how we engage in what are traditionally called annual fund programs. I don't like to talk about annual gifts because I want people to think about giving more than once a year. I want them to give to what inspires them. I talk about constituent giving programs, but I also talk about disruption within those programs. I think we have to think differently about how we're soliciting, how we're stewarding at every level. You've heard me talk about Charity Water, a $50 gift for which I feel deeply connected, and yet we have donors giving $100,000 to endowed scholarship funds, and they never meet their student recipient. We have to change the way we go about our business. We have to increase the personalization within our business. Everything that we do and how we approach people has to change. And that has to start with everything that we do, from engagement through solicitation, but it has to change our segmentation strategies, right? That business school alum may care more about the arts or the environment than they do the business school, but that's not how we talk to them. And then when we do engage them or they give, what do? We're focused on renewing the gift rather than actually building the relationship with that young alum. So our behaviors have to change, and we have to open up our ears to listen differently to the conversations around us. I'm not submitting that we can change the rising cost of higher education. I think we can impact student debt loads through scholarship, but that is not addressing the issue. So I think we have to have broader conversations within our universities and within our society about some of the larger issues. But I think we have to put those issues on the table when we are thinking about how to plan and design our advancement programs in today's world. The advancement programs that I've been a part of over the past 20 years haven't really changed. And I still see behaviors across those programs that look very much like they looked 20 years and 30 years ago. I'm suggesting that we have to take a wholesale look at repositioning ourselves within our marketplace, within our student populations, and yes, starting deeply within our student populations, within our alumni, our communities, and yes, at Tier 1 research universities or universities with health systems. At an Emory, less than 20% of the gifts that come in annually come from our alumni. Less than 20%. Now, we have to focus on shifting that equation here, right? Continuing to have great success in healthcare, but increasing the strength of our alumni support. But how are we going to do that if we're not addressing the fundamental issues that are creating that lack of commitment, engagement, and philanthropic support in the first place? So my charge to you is to find the time and find the space that allows you in your advancement program to think dramatically different about how you're going to approach your work. Are you elevating the personalization and thinking about the relationship that you are building above and beyond how you're structuring or thinking about the historic behaviors that have driven our activity? I'm excited about philanthropy in higher education. I'm excited about the work we do here at Emory. I'm a first-generation college grad. It was a scholarship that changed my life. It was a scholarship that inspired me to get into this business and this industry in the first place. I'm still inspired, but I need to be more inspired than I have been because I too hear that noise. And I need to hear it very loud and clear and change our behaviors now as we move forward into the next decade and beyond. I look forward to continued dialogue with you. I look forward to continued partnership and conversation. And I look forward to challenging all of us to think differently and to hear differently about how we approach our work. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you to your teammates Cutler and Subban who helped you shoot, produce, and edit that presentation. It was really incredible.
Oh, that was awesome, and like just what a phenomenal way to start Raise. Goosebumps! I'm so pumped up. And we have to think differently. We have to think bigger, and we have to think about how we're relating to donors on a real, personal, genuine level as we demonstrate impact, as we show them like what their support in the past has done, as we show them the lives that are being changed and the ability that education has to transform lives and solve some of the world's really big problems. That's how we inspire people to give. That's how we inspire people to give again. And that's how we change the narrative for the future. So it's so critical to do what we do. And thank you to each and every one of you who does what you do every day to change lives for the better.
Yeah, and let's head to the chat because there is a lot to celebrate. Tell us why you are proud to work where you work. What good has your team done within the past year that we can celebrate today? I am happy to start off at Evertrue. I am so proud to work here. Mike and the rest of the marketing team, when everybody went remote, they totally pivoted and created this incredible remote work series that had thousands of people engaging with it. Our engineering and product team is absolutely incredible. They pivoted, they created a Zoom integration in less than a month. So those are just some of the things that have happened recently that just make me beam with pride.
Well, the best part about the remote series is sharing all the work that you've done with our customers on the customer success team and share those success stories so that others can learn from it. And I've told this story before, but like the reason I've been in advancement for 10 years now, and that I stay, and that this is my career and my work calling, is because of the way advancement changes lives and scholarships change lives. I had the privilege of working at an awesome prep school, Phillips Exeter Academy in New Hampshire, which is known as a very wealthy and prestigious school, and it is, but at the same time, half of all students there are on some form of financial aid. And seeing kids who are the first in their families to graduate high school and tap into incredible opportunities at Exeter and beyond has just been transformational for me, and I'm excited to continue to help partner and do that for others. And so let's see what everyone's saying. Shout outs to Brooks Hall down at Louisiana Tech, New York University, the greatest city of the world, the kind, hardworking team, awesome stuff. What are the good things? I need these talks in my life every day. Kristen, you can just keep rewatching. We're going to share all this after.
We need education now more than ever, being proud to be in an industry that helps to adapt to constantly changing needs. Yes, this is the kind of impact that we need to show to every single donor. Luckily, that's what today's keynote is all about. Brent Grina, EverTrue's own founder and CEO, is going to ask you how we can give a major gift donor experience to 10 times the number of donors. And I'll give you the punchline. He's also going to tell you how to do it too.
Welcome to today's keynote session. We wanted to take this moment to present an update on EverTrue, our journey, what we specifically have focused on over the last year, and what we're incredibly excited to share about this next coming year and beyond. And to set that up, I want to get back to one of my personal bright spots as we all moved into quarantine in early March. I was trying to think of ways that I could, frankly, keep our kids busy and active, and also have some fun myself. And one of the things that I was committed to doing heading into 2020, and I didn't realize just how much time I would have to commit to it, is getting better at fishing. So my family and I were in southern Rhode Island, and it was just around the corner was striper season as quarantine started. And I'd never gone striped bass fishing except for a couple of just one-off situations, and I was committing to it this year, and I thought it'd be a really fun thing to do with my kids. And so we went to this bridge. I can't tell you my spot, but it's a bridge in Rhode Island, and we started having watched a few YouTube videos about what kind of lures and poles we should be using, and we started doing some striper fishing. And I will say that while we caught some fish, they were very, very small and very rare. But every time we caught one, it was an unbelievable jolt of energy, and we kept trying and we kept watching more videos, but ultimately the fish just weren't that big. And so at one point I realized I need to understand what it really takes to go and catch bigger fish. And so I thought it would be worthwhile, as things started to open up a little bit, to find a charter boat captain who might be able to really go beyond what I could figure out on my own through the YouTube videos and really just teach me how to catch big striper more consistently in Rhode Island. And it was an amazing experience. And guess what? We caught much bigger fish. He helped us with the right lures, with the right techniques, was much more hands-on in his approach. And even though some of the things he told me were very similar to what I had heard on the YouTube videos, with him at my side, it was just easier to do great fishing and have better results. And one of the last things we did before leaving Rhode Island on our RV journey across the country, my brother Blaine and I went fishing out to Block Island. It took an hour to get out there, but it was so worth it. We had an unbelievable night fishing with the Pamela May boat and charter captain Jason there, and we caught some really big fish. Now, I know you're wondering, why is my brother in that photo instead of me? I'm the big brother. He looked at me and said, "Do you want this one?" And I said, "No, Blaine, you can catch that one, because that's what big brothers are supposed to do for their little brothers, but it means he got all the likes on Instagram. So the moral of the story for me has really been, even though I was trying to do the same thing with the same techniques, and I was trying to teach myself on YouTube, having somebody as my partner on that journey really changed the results overnight. And it was actually a lot more fun than trying to figure it out on my own. I say all of that to set up our evolution at EverTrue. Now, if you've joined us in recent webinars, or if you've heard us at case conferences, or maybe you've joined us at Raise in the past, you know that we have talked a lot about what we believe donor centricity really means. And we think at this moment, when everything has been disrupted about the way that we have traditionally engaged, acquired, renewed, expanded, built major donor pipeline, that this is the moment when we can all redefine what donor centricity really means. And I want to share a story that we think illustrates what it means to be donor-centric that is as good as anything I have heard in my 10-year entrepreneurial journey at EverTrue. I want you to meet Heather. Heather is a donor experience officer at Oregon State University. A year ago, Oregon State, pre-pandemic, pre any of the things we've been dealing with in 2020, committed to trying to introduce more personalized donor engagement to a next generation level of supporters who simply were not surfacing in traditional major gift operations. And so Heather and a couple of her colleagues were hired in an inaugural donor experience officer program. It was the first one in the advancement sector. And they partnered with EverTrue to be able to set up that program and leverage data and technology and coaching to really scale one-to-one outreach to a new set of supporters, including people like Kenny. And we are going to use Kenny as an example. He is a real person that Heather has built a relationship with, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But Kenny is so reflective of the missed opportunity that the traditional constructs of major gift fundraising have prevented us from pursuing. Kenny is a classic supporter who has given on again, off again. He has very specific interests as it relates to the marching band. And once you dig a little bit and learn about Kenny, he is very philanthropically involved elsewhere, not at Oregon State University. And through our work, Kenny was an example of the kind of person that we felt Heather and her colleagues could build relationships with in a new way. Not getting on a plane and going and visiting him. Not calling him at night when he's putting his kids to bed, trying to ask him for a renewal of his annual fund gift. But really taking all of the data and technology at our disposal to be able to personalize Kenny's donor experience and earn his gift and earn his renewal. Kenny is reflective of the missed opportunity in the middle of the giving pyramid. And our data shows that there are a lot of Kennys out there. In fact, having now analyzed over 30 million donor records across over 100 of your institutions, we have come to realize that less than 3% of all of the constituents in our system are assigned to gift officers, which means over 97% of your constituents are only having relationships built in a one-to-many fashion. Mass marketing, mass email, mass texting. And while all of that can improve our outcomes, we think that there's an opportunity to scale one-to-one relationship building deeper into the giving pyramid to truly maximize the donor experience for people like Kenny, but also the outcomes for your institution. And I want to tell you a little bit about how Heather was able to do that with Kenny. On February 13th, Heather sent a short video introducing herself to Kenny and letting him know that Oregon State was trying to do a better job engaging mid-level supporters like Kenny in a truly personalized, authentic, one-to-one manner. The next day, Heather followed up with a phone call to Kenny, and he answered. And guess what? Kenny wasn't very happy. In fact, he said, "Look, I know why you're calling. You're going to ask for money. I was never thanked for my last gift, and until I am, you don't need to contact me again." Anybody who works in advancement has met somebody with that sort of reaction. But Heather, in her role as a donor experience officer, was very quick on her feet. And Heather went to the basketball game that night. Remember basketball games? And she went up to the leader of the marching band, and she told the leader of the marching band about Kenny's story. Kenny's prior gift to Oregon State had been to the marching band. And when the band heard that he felt like he hadn't been thanked, well, you can see for yourself what they did in response.
Because of people like you, we can have American Sign Language at sporting events, which makes me really happy because it means that music can be accessible for everyone. Thank you. Go Bees!
Thank you, Penny. I'm on the Performing Arts Student Advisory Board here on campus, and we love getting donations because it helps us do things across all different performing arts. So thank you. Go Bees! Thank you. Thank you, Kenny.
When Kenny got that video, he responded immediately to Heather and said, "Wow, I'm speechless. Let's talk tomorrow." Kenny is a multi-million-dollar net worth individual who has modestly supported the band in the past and is now already involved in a major gift conversation, and there is far more opportunity there. Heather didn't go and visit Kenny or take him out for coffee or buy him lunch. She was able to, in an incredibly cost-effective, highly efficient manner, create an experience for Kenny, leveraging digital strategies but also human-to-human engagement that is going to transform Kenny's donor experience. It's going to transform the amount of impact that Kenny can have in the lives of Oregon State students, and it is really energizing for Heather and her colleagues to see what is possible when you really focus on the donor and introduce new ideas, especially at a moment like this. Historically, we have been focused on the very top of the giving pyramid, and we understand why. That is where the revenue is generated. That is how capital campaigns are completed. And we know that at a moment like this, that revenue is needed more than ever. But at the same time, we have talked to enough of you over the years that so many of you realize the middle of the pyramid, the upper middle of the pyramid, is a massive void. When you think about how those people are truly being engaged as individuals today relative to the experience that Kenny and thousands of other Oregon State constituents are now receiving thanks to Heather and her peers. In order to address this opportunity, we are going to be more reliant on data than ever before. And I want to give you a sense of why we think there is such a missed opportunity that we are ready to pursue with all of you. First and foremost, as we said, 97% of people don't have one-to-one relationships with gift officers or assigned prospect managers today. In order to attack the opportunity in the middle of the pyramid and to scale these kinds of personalized donor experiences, we are going to have to rely on data more than ever before. And so we've looked at both data for assigned prospects and unassigned prospects across our customer base to really size up the opportunity. And one of the things that stood out for us is that 97% of people do not have gift officers or prospect managers assigned to them today. But the 3% who do, half of those individuals were not contacted by their prospect manager last year. That's a missed opportunity. Additionally, when we look at net worth data for all of the prospects across our platform, in partnership with our colleagues at Windfall Data, we have found that over 96% of $1 million plus net worth prospects are not assigned. That's a tremendous opportunity. Additionally, we looked at the data for the people who are supporting your institutions at leadership levels, let's say $1,000 or more. And we were surprised to see that 1 out of 3 of those individuals has not received personalized stewardship beyond the mass communications that you might expect after making a gift. For years, we've been talking about the importance of moving beyond the traditional giving pyramid, where we're really focused on 3% of our constituents, to shift to more of a funnel approach, connecting the dots across different digital and social signals to understand which of our constituents are really engaged, to be able to easily qualify those people based on past giving behavior or net worth data that we've embedded in our platform, to be able to know with clarity the next best set of prospects that need to be assigned to officers. And that is the group of people. Those are the people like Kenny that are waiting to be engaged and are hungry for a better donor experience. That's what we're about. It is about choosing a better way to raise, a more modern way to raise, a more efficient way to raise, while recognizing we have to still generate revenue, given that we're under more pressure than ever before in the higher ed sector. I want to remind you how we've been approaching that from the data perspective. First and foremost, we continue to believe that weaving together digital engagement insights is going to represent tremendous opportunity for all of you. We've also been focused on adding interest data, wealth data, and new approaches to monitoring career data at a time when there is more movement and frankly more challenges in the labor market than at any time in history. And then surface all of that data to be able to identify the people that are hidden in plain sight, people like Kenny, and to give you the tools to be able to build relationships with those people in a personalized and scalable manner. We've been able to put that at your fingertips and create all kinds of safe searches and alerts and collaboration tools that have allowed you to stay connected with your colleagues even when you aren't physically present through our relationship management and volunteer management tools. But we've also realized that we have to go beyond just data and software to be able to scale experiences that leave donors like Kenny speechless. And that's going to take more than just technology. We feel like we have been operating historically kind of like I was when I was fishing with my kids earlier this spring. And while we've given you all lots of content and videos that we think can help inform ways that you can go and build relationships with our technology on your own, we feel like there is more to do. We feel like it is time to go after the bigger fish, and we want to be your guide. We are ready to be the charter boat captain that is going to help you understand the right people, the right approaches, the right time to generate the best possible results. And with all of that, I'm really excited to introduce EverTrue Premier. This is a highly tailored, hands-on data, strategy, and execution support to scale donor-centric fundraising like Kenny has experienced to thousands of constituents who you will not be able to reach through traditional frontline efforts. This is really modern customer experience meets higher education fundraising. What we've developed is a program where we can partner with your team in a hands-on manner to equip people like Heather and new donor experience officers to engage thousands of donors in a very programmatic, personalized way at a low cost relative to traditional gift officer portfolio sizes. We have done that by weaving together best-in-class tools, EverTrue and the integrations that we've developed, and a suite of partners that together have allowed us to present a truly multi-channel, personalized experience. Yes, you can use the phone, you can use email, you can engage donors on LinkedIn, you can text people, we can activate other social media accounts. It's about the donor. But what we need to equip the donor experience officers with is the right data, the right strategy, a clear plan, and the training to be able to do this kind of outbound engagement without getting on planes or going to tailgates, because those activities are going to be limited for the foreseeable future. There is tremendous opportunity in the middle of the giving pyramid. We've got to go unlock that, and there has never been a better context in spite of all the challenges we're dealing with in 2020. This is the moment where we need to drive efficiency, we need to be able to deliver results, and most important, we need to be able to stay connected with our donors at a time when philanthropic support is needed to address so many of the challenges we're dealing with, more so than ever before. So the question we're going to pose is, what are you going to do? And we've got a few options. One, is we could do nothing. And we could just wait for all of this to be over and for things to get back to normal, to go back to doing fundraising the way we've always done it. But we don't think that you would have signed up for the Summer of Raise series if that was your point of view. The second thing is you could try to do this on your own. Just like I started fishing on my own in the spring. And I have no doubt that by trying to apply these principles, these approaches, you can improve the donor experience overnight. And if that is the path you go down, we want to be a partner, and we are going to continue to try to introduce you to people, ideas, technologies, frameworks that will allow you to get started on your own. But at the same time, if you realize that this is a moment where we have to disrupt the way we have always done things, we are excited about the opportunity to truly be your partner through EverTrue Premier, to be able to leverage the best data, the best strategies, weave together the right technologies and touchpoint plans to personalize donor experience and scale one-to-one outreach to thousands of people who otherwise simply would not have that experience. That's what 2020 and 2021 are all about. Scaling one-to-one outreaches and making fundraising as personal as possible at a moment when we're not flying and we're not having offline events. We know that we can still engage people like Kenny, rebuild the donor relationship, and really set ourselves up for success this year and for decades to come. And we're thrilled about the opportunity to be a partner on that journey. Now, let's stay in touch. I'm easy to find. I look forward to seeing your good vibes, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of the Summer of Raise. Best wishes.
If you want to hear more about these donor experience officer programs that Brent talked about, head over to evertrue.com/premier. Fill out the form and we will hand you an ROI assessment letting you know how much your institution can stand to gain by implementing one of these programs. So head over to evertrue.com/premier for a free ROI assessment. We'll hear from Oregon State through a case study a little later today and get the inside scoop on their program as well as the success that they've seen so far.
And look, everything we're doing at Raise is all about personalizing the donor experience. And we're going to have sessions from 25 plus different institutions about how they're doing that. So it's about EverTrue Premier, it's about one-on-one outreach, and it's about what you can do tomorrow and next week and next month to really make it personal. So we're no more missed opportunities. That's what Brent's session was really about, and we're going to keep talking about missed opportunities, but we're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to talk about missed opportunities from a slightly different perspective. And so, right now we're in the midst of a long overdue national reckoning on social and racial injustice, spurred by the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery and far too many other folks to name, but say their names, it's important. The Black Lives Matter movement has brought issues of injustice and inequality and racism to the forefront. It's time for all of us to take a deep look at ourselves and our institutions and figure out how do we make a difference and make a change.
Yeah, it's definitely the same for the advancement industry as well. Fewer than 17% of advancement professionals are people of color, and 1/3 of institutions do not have any non-Caucasians in development leadership. Females make up 70% of the development workforce, but are vastly underrepresented when it comes to leadership positions. And we serve increasingly diverse alumni bodies. Students of color make up 45% of the undergraduate population. Women outgraduate men, and college-educated females make up the majority of the workforce.
Dr. Shirley M. Collado, she is the president of Ithaca College, which is my alma mater, and I'm super excited to have her on the Raise stage because Shirley is not shy about asking the tough questions and talking about the hard things. She is a leader who is working hard to make changes for the better, and she's assembled an incredible leadership team at IC that reflects the diversity of backgrounds that the student body and the alumni body represent. And she sat down with Brent for a special episode of the Raise podcast. And we're going to air just an excerpt of the full conversation, which you can hear later on next week on the podcast. But she sat down with Brent and we excerpted about 8 or 9 minutes of their conversation, which was phenomenal. And we're going to jump in right now to the point where Brent has just asked Shirley about leadership in this particular moment in history when making the tough decision and when making changes for the better is so critical. So let's jump in and watch.
I'll start by saying with that comes tremendous responsibility. I picked a role from which I thought I could create and mobilize the greatest level of collective impact. So it wasn't about pursuing this role, this job. It is a vehicle for the kind of social change that I deeply care about. And I happen to think Ithaca College is incredibly well poised for that kind of commitment. And I wanted to go to a place, this is another thing that I think about for your listeners. It's always been very important for me to go to an institution, an organization that really allows me to be fully who I am. And so the people who know me, who know my work, and have pursued my leadership know that I'm not going to places to continue to solidify status quo. Disruption is healthy. And honoring legacy and tradition and history is important. And at the same time, revitalizing and reimagining that is critically important. So, to your point, Brett, and so interesting how awful and sad it is that for decades, these issues that are front and center right now have operated at the margins of many organizations. They've been add-ons, they've been things to deal with, laws to follow. And then we moved into the landscape of climate and inclusion and equity. And now we are at this pressure point that is demanding of us that the very things that we have protected to keep this amazing thing that we do in higher ed, right, strong and historical, need to be dramatically interrupted and reimagined while staying true to the mission of why our institutions came to be in the first place. This is true in the public sector and the private sector. It's true if you're in the South or the North or East or West. This is something we all have to be paying attention to. So for me, I would underscore whether you're an advancement officer or a president or a CFO or a board member, we need to intentionally make sure that these issues actually come from the core of what we do rather than from the peripheries and sitting at the margins. That's actually harder work to do than just adding on something extra, like a special program or a recruitment officer or a chief diversity officer. It is really looking at everything that we do. And I think that is a fundamental role that I play as president when I think about how do we look at this whole landscape? So we all have a stake in the future and we all have the ability to feel like we can see ourselves in this conversation so that we can all fully participate together in a great academic community. And that's really, really fundamental for me.
And you have done that in the way that you have built your leadership team at Ithaca College. I would love your perspective on how intentional you have been in that regard. And equally important, we need to acknowledge that higher education in general and advancement specifically has a long way to go in this regard. And I think that's a lot of the tension of like, where do we start right now? And how have you approached that at Ithaca College, balancing tradition and legacy with a really strong set of beliefs around what equity and inclusion and the next chapter should look like for higher education?
Yeah, that's such a rich question, Brett. And I'm so glad that at Evertrue you're thinking about how important it is to be very honest about that. And I think when we have these hard conversations about where we've stumbled or where we've missed, there's a tendency for people to start feeling either guilty or threatened or outside of the conversation. And I would challenge everyone who feels that way to really, really ask the question, what role am I playing? how am I contributing to this? And what do I need to learn to create the shift? And so let me first say clearly, Ithaca College does not have this perfectly right. We have a long way to go, like many institutions. And we have a history here that we're very proud of. And then there are things that we could really learn from. You know, our campus before I arrived was already going through some very hard things related to campus climate when there were protests happening nationally, as you know, on the heels of Mizzou. And not a Vanderbilt, not a Brown, not an Ithaca is immune to that. That's real stuff. And why is that relevant now? Because students are rising up. And I want to say it's not just students of color. It's not just first generation college students. Students from all walks of life, as we're seeing now in our country, in our nation, grappling with issues of race and violence. In America, people from all walks of life care about this issue. And so I think it's an important and beautiful thing right now that we're facing this and need to know it's not just the historically Black colleges or the Hispanic serving institutions. No, actually the future of America, the future of your very clients in philanthropy and engagement, the future leaders of this country are going to come from all walks of life. And so if we position that and we look at that from a market perspective and also from what it means to be truly committed to public good and issues of equity, we can't afford then to hang on to all the different ways that we've been before. You know, it's like when I think about a college campus and the history of higher ed, you know, it's really, and whether we think about Brown or Vanderbilt or Ithaca, just as an example, what we fundamentally have done is we decided for a whole host of reasons to start inviting students from different backgrounds to our campus. And it's like, Brent, if I invited you to my house and I said to you, you know, you can come to my house and then bring all your friends and bring all these interesting people who might have different backgrounds than me. But, you know, when you come to my house, I want you to be exactly like me and I don't want you to change anything. You know, you might have different tastes in food. You might want the curtains a certain way. You want this. But if you're going to live in this house, it has to be exactly the way I want it to be and I'm comfortable with. And what we're doing in college now is we're asking students, right? They're adding and they're changing who we are. They're not compromising our history and past. They're adding to it. They're strengthening it. And so with that, there's a responsibility that we need things in our curriculum, in our faculty and staff, on the board, and on the senior leadership teams to affirm that experience. And that's really important. And I think in advancement and philanthropy in particular, there's so many people that we traditionally have missed and not seen because they don't check certain boxes that we determine to be worthy of our time and to be selected to be valuable assets to our institutions. And those things have to change. We've overlooked women that way. We've overlooked people of color in that way. And there are people like me, for instance, coming through the path who would not see themselves as a chief philanthropist, right? Because they don't see that image of themselves and no one's asking members of their community to take that walk with them. And that's what I think we need to start unpacking is where do we see value? Who's getting noticed? Who's getting the president's time? I mean, one of the things that I've done at Ithaca, and it's required more time, but there are people who I want to be in front of that in the traditional advancement space, I would be advised, no, you don't want to do that. That's not valuable to the president's time. I think that's completely not a great way to think about it. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, nope, that person could actually be all these other things that we're not even seeing yet. And so if you don't have that lens, you miss so much. And that's why it's important as a president to surround yourself with people who think about this in all kinds of ways.
Dr. Collado, I was really excited to meet you, and I'm even more excited having had this conversation. And I'm really glad that there are at least 1,000 more people in the higher ed sector who will look you up and will know your story and won't mistake someone else to be the president of Ithaca College, because that's you. Congratulations on all that you've achieved. Best wishes as you lead Ithaca through this challenging period. And I just can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you, Brett. It's been an honor and a great conversation. Thank you for asking me such wonderful questions. And I wish you all the best. Congrats on everything you've achieved with Evertrue, and I'm happy to help whenever I can.
Thank you, Dr. Collado. We all have a lot of work to do. We have to think critically about how we can truly engage our alumni and who gets our time and resources. And the advancement industry, Evertrue included, needs to start asking really hard questions about hiring, about who we're engaging, who's assigned, and where we're spending our time, energy, and resources.
Yeah, there's a lot we have to think about, and there's a lot of changes we have to make. But the good news is that we have the momentum. This is time, so it's time to seize the day, seize that opportunity, and make those changes. I had the phenomenal privilege of sitting in on that conversation between Dr. Collado and Brent. And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, I know Brent just put the link in the chat, but it's evertrue.com/podcast, or you can search for Raise on Stitcher or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, or I use Overcast, wherever you are. That's where we are. So definitely listen to the full conversation. It is absolutely unbelievable, must listen.
Yes.
If you care about these issues, if you care about philanthropy and engagement. And so we're gonna go back to the chat right now. And we're about halfway through our Raise live kickoff event. It's going by so
Flown
fast.
by.
I'm having fun. Are you having fun?
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
Let us know if you're having fun. And we want to know, what's your biggest highlight or takeaway so far? We heard Josh Newton challenge us to demonstrate impact to every single donor. Brent share his vision for reaching the next 10% or the next 10,000 major gift prospects at your institution. And Dr. Collado pushed us all to think more critically about who we engage and who we hire, and who we pursue as donors, and who's even worthy of a president's time. So what's your biggest highlight or takeaway thus far? You can share it on social. You can pop it in the chat. Let's hear what people have to say.
My biggest takeaway so far is, I think, looking at all of these responses from our attendees come in, hearing some of the sessions so far, there is just such great energy around doing good in a really hard time. And I think, as the responses continue to come in, it's just really wonderful. And I'm taking away that people really want to kind of shift things and move things for the better.
No, and that's so awesome to see. And I've heard it from some of the other speakers that we're going to feature later, so big market tease there. But I've also heard it from Josh, Shirley, and Brent. Like, this is an opportunity. We're in a new normal, and it's time to change how we think and change how we've done things, and to really examine like where we spend our time and how we change things up and move forward. So. Melanie says donor centricity and being authentic is her big takeaway. Julie says, as Josh said, we need to listen differently. Really good inspiration there. The Kenny story, that's awesome. How can I earn your gift? For sure. And truly inspired by Dr. Collado, as we all are. Thank you, Michelle. Lots of great takeaways and lots of good things to come. We're about halfway through this kickoff, but we are not done yet.
No.
The home stretch is coming. But hey, look, it's 2 hours. Everybody needs a little bit of a break. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to share some good vibes. You can get a snack. You can use the restroom. You can text your mom. You can call the donor and say thank you. And then come back, because we have great stuff coming up. So before you go?
Yes, before you go, let me tell you what's coming up. We have our first ever completely virtual Raise Happy Hour. We have 3 VPs that we brought in for some bar talk. You'll hear crazy donor stories, life advice, how they'd change advancement, what actor would play them in a movie. It's going to be great. Then we're going to have Mark Koenig check in from his backyard pool. It's going to be a really fun conversation, but he's going to give us the inside scoop on the Donor Experience Officer program that he has built with Evertrue at Oregon State and share some of their success so far. And then, of course, we'll do a lightning round and share some takeaways to give you some great ideas. So come back, stay tuned, and we'll see you in 5.
hard. So good vibes for 2020 there. I did put on lipstick for this, and I was already wearing my Raise 19 shirt for today because I don't put on anything except t-shirts and sweatpants these days. But hopefully that will increase my odds of getting used on Thursday. I look forward to Thursday. I look forward to Summer of Raise. I'm wishing happiness and health to everyone out there.
Hey everybody, my name is Haley Ashley and I'm a Donor Experience Officer at WKU. I just wanted to share some of my good vibes for 2020. I know this has been a very unusual year with lots of ups and downs and unknowns, but it's been a good year so far. I've enjoyed getting to work from home, getting to reach out and connect with Hilltoppers from all over. I get to spend all day every day with our Beagle Topper. I've spent more time with my husband, we've cooked more and baked more, spent more time outside, especially with my flowers, and just really enjoyed the time that we've had at home together. Here's to hoping and praying that the rest of 2020 is great and praying for everyone to be safe and healthy. Go Tops!
Raise attendees, assemble. Let's get back in the room, get back to your computers. We have a lot more great stuff to go. I mean, it doesn't feel like a long way to go, but we're only halfway done, and we got a lot of fun ahead. So we didn't actually get a snack because we're like tied in place.
We're tied, yeah.
We're tied in place with these
tethered
microphones.
to the couch.
But I hope you grabbed a snack. And if you were at home, Megan, the next chat question is what's your go-to working from home snack? Okay, so everybody talk about food in the chat. Megan and I are going to get started. Megan, if you're at home and it's the afternoon lull, what are you using to power your way through the end of the day?
Yeah, I am really into cherries right now. Cherries are ideal for working from home snacking. A little bit messy if I were in the office with the pits, so it works out really, really well. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like my good vibes is like I can now microwave fish in the office and like no one cares because there's nobody here. No, it's probably like the peanut butter banana, classic like protein, you know, makes me feel like I'm being healthy even though I'm probably not. I don't know. So yeah, snacks. I see popcorn, chocolate chip cookies, coconut ice cream. There's Lily angling for that Jenny's, I think.
M&Ms, of course, yes. Got to get that sugar jolt right in the afternoon. Cheetos. Sherry, you're a woman after my heart.
Oh yeah, Quest protein. I mean, and fresh fruit. Melanie bringing the health. That's awesome. Yes. Way to go. Way to go.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now. I gotta go get something.
I know. Well, Everybody watching, get your popcorn ready for this next session. The best part of every conference is the after hours conversations, right? It's definitely my favorite part. Yeah. Whether it's at the bar in the evening or over coffee during one of the breaks, getting to know one another, meeting new people, it's the best. We can't really do that today, so we're doing the next best thing. We sat down with 3 VPs and 1 surprise VIP guest for some bar talk. We asked them all a bunch of random questions, and some of them are work related too, and we brought them together for your entertainment. We think you'll learn something too, so let's watch.
Where people have said things like, yeah, but will she travel if she wants to have a baby? Or how would she balance that? Which I think is just a completely unfair assessment of what someone's career track could or could not be. But I think stereotypes, I would include men in there in stereotypes that they may have. They can travel because their wife is going to stay home or whatever it may be. But I think we would all do ourselves a lot of favors if we really thought more intentionally about how we consider what people can or cannot do, and also how we are intentionally working to ensure that those stereotypes don't exist across our industry.
The one thing in advancement I would change if I could is dividing up donors based on what they graduated, what their degree is in. So lots of colleges, universities, or in my world, divide them up, arts and sciences, engineering. That if I could fix that and just demolish the centralized, decentralized model, I would, because as a graduate of arts and sciences, it doesn't mean anything to me other than a major I picked when I was 17 years old. And I think we have to realize that people have 4 and 5 careers now, and that just because you were an undergraduate in engineering doesn't mean you're still an engineer. And so I would demolish that as soon as I could. That would be a huge
The relationship between alumni relations and development. If you think of the sandwich and the top loaf of bread and the bottom piece of bread, you've got to have it from the top and you've got to have it from the bottom as well. So the leadership and advancement has to want this to happen and has to not so much mandate, because you can't force a relationship, but has to show by the leader's example that all facets of advancement are critical to the success of the program. At the same time, you need that groundswell. You need the people who are actually in the trenches every day to want this to happen and to work to make it happen.
I wish that we move faster. And I think that's institution, higher education in general. There's the bureaucracy, how long it takes to move things forward, and that we would innovate more and move at the speed of business. And you hear that a lot from community members and people that you work with. And we often don't move at the speed of business. And so I wish that we would innovate more and move a little bit faster on some of the things that we work on. Reese Witherspoon. Love her. And I don't think I look like her, but I've had a couple people say, oh, you kind of look like Reese Witherspoon. And of course, Having been in Nashville for a while, she's from Nashville. Love her book, and nice little Southern girl.
The celebrity that would play me in a movie. I want to think like Melissa McCarthy or Amy Schumer. But in my heart of hearts, it would be Dave Chappelle. I know that would be a weird twist. Although I'll take Rachel Brosnan, who plays Mrs. Maisel. I'd like to have her body, but just somebody fun who doesn't take things so seriously, and someone that can just drop wit at the drop of a hat. That's somebody I'd love to have play me, someone who's well respected as well.
I think Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman Gal Gadot, is like gorgeous. And if you know who Gal Gadot is, she's like tan and a brunette and gorgeous. So not at all like me, but I would like her to play me. But who would really play me would probably be more like a Melissa McCarthy. Extension. So we are an agricultural and mechanical college. So really what built LSU as a land grant was agriculture, and then think like mechanical engineering. And so we have continued to maintain that excellence and prestige in agriculture. And we had a donor, he was one of the best donors ever to LSU cash-wise as well, but he came to us and he wanted to donate to the fertility department in the ag center. And so he had champion bull. I feel like I can't say this word on like live TV, so I just can't. I feel I can't do it. But bull, you know what I'm talking about. And so we had never had anyone offer to donate bull man parts for us to be able to do research on and to see if it impacted like lineage and, you know, strength. But we accepted the gift.
Early morning flight, like 7 a.m. and the woman sitting next to me in first class clearly was on some sort of diet or something, and she, out of her bag came a Ziploc bag of freshly boiled, cooked cold shrimp, and she proceeded to peel them and eat them at like 7 a.m. on the flight sitting next to me. And you know, I just couldn't handle it, and like I was gagging and I couldn't deal with it. And I'm sure she was a really kind Canadian, but I was like, really?
The worst one was I was sitting next to a guy who was eating, if you know those rod pretzels, you know, like, and people will sometimes dip them in chocolate or whatever. I love them that way. Well, this guy was just eating straight up rod pretzels, but he was not eating them like you would think. He was chewing the salt off of them like a beaver would eat like corn on the cob or like a log. And so the salt and like crumbs were flying, salt was flying that was like licked, crumbs, and it was so bad. I really do remember thinking like, I am on a television show. Like if you've seen.
Well, I'm sitting here with a glass of homemade sangria. I like refreshing drinks. And actually, the true beer lovers, especially the craft beer lovers, will hate me saying this, but my favorite thing to drink on a warm day, especially after a round of golf, is a light beer, a light domestic beer, because it's so cold and it feels so good going down smoothly. But I've taken to making my own sangria, and I find it to be really refreshing in the summer.
I'm really into a nice margarita right now, and squeezing the limes, finding the right tequilas. That has been the summertime drink for us right now.
Look, you're not getting quality content like that at a case conference. Only at Raise, people. Only at Raise. And remember, Brent Grinna is manning the social medias, all right? So get in the chat, at Brent Grinna on Twitter, and ask him some of those questions. Who'd play you, Brent, in a movie? What's your weirdest donor story? And don't you think Megan deserves a raise for this awesome hosting opportunity, hosting abilities? I just want to say thank you to Amanda Tribune of Western Kentucky, who is also a Raise speaker. We'll hear from her later in the summer, as well as Lynn Wester, the donor guru, who we'll also hear from later in the summer, as well as John Feudo at UMass Lowell and Krista Allen Rainey at LSU. That was a total blast. Thank you so much. And so we're going back to the chat. Need to know, what's your favorite summertime beverage? Well, also, you can share what you change about advancement and big things too. But what do you drink in the summer? And Megan, what have you been chilling off with? Chilling off with
Modelo this summer. Last summer it was Corona, but for obvious reasons, not this summer. So a nice ice cold Modelo.
That's awesome. I don't know if Corona sales have been up or down, really but they've been all over the place. They've been getting some heat on Twitter, too, unnecessarily. We're a bourbon household, even in the summer. So that's been a lot of fun to try new things and working on my old fashioned skills. And then at Evertrue, we have an unlimited supply of seltzer in the fridge, and you and I were just talking earlier, our recycling cans are overflowing with cans of seltzer. So we have to maybe cut back on the seltzer and invest in a soda stream or something.
Yes. But we're the embarrassment of our neighborhoods looking at our recycling bins.
We got the chat coming in. Lemon seltzer with Bacardi Limon and a wedge of lemon from Lisette.
Kentucky Mule, I love it.
Kentucky, what's a Kentucky Mule? Is
I
it
think that's
a
whiskey.
Moscow with bourbon, maybe?
Yeah.
Right.
Kettle One grapefruit and soda, love that, Samantha. A little play on a Greyhound.
Mojitos, very nice. Vino Verde over ice with lime or rosé all day. All right, David.
Nice.
Luxuriating down in Austin, Texas.
This is giving me some ideas for later.
I know. Cherry milkshake. Get the soda stream, Carlene says. That's awesome. Very, very cool. So keep the beverages coming. And
Yes. Well, next up, we are headed to the Pacific Northwest. You heard Brent picture what donor experiences should look like, and now we're actually going to hear about a team who's actually doing it. In January, the Oregon State University Foundation created a brand new program for donor experience officers. With us, they hired 3 brand new fundraisers, made them totally digital, and armed them with a portfolio of each having 1,000 of OSU's best prospects. So we'll hear from Mark Koenig, as we mentioned before. He is joining us from his backyard pool. So he is going to be our first ever pool-based Raise speaker. Let's hear from Mark.
Oh, hi. I'm Mark Koenig. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer and the VP for Technology for the Oregon State University Foundation. So we know that we have over 200,000 alumni, and of that group, we probably have around 60,000 donors. We know that at any one time, we probably have about 26,000 donors a year. And we know that through the number of development officers we have and the number of assignments that we have, that we really are probably scratching somewhere about 2.8% of these individuals getting a direct interaction with a major gift officer. We recognize that that's just not deep enough for our donor base. And again, you may be able to make a gift at $10,000 and you're not getting any better experience than a gift maybe at $500, because that has been put into our at-scale stewardship program, which is really mass marketing. Our hope was to expand this down deeper into our pools, and we did that by deploying these donor experience officers to improve the experience that our donors were getting at 1,000+ level. Our donor experience officers are working a pool of 1,000 people each, and they're trying to create a rich experience for these donors.
Hi. My name is Heather, and I am a Donor Experience Officer at the Oregon State University Foundation. It's my goal as a DXO to reach out and connect with alumni and keep them connected and engaged with Oregon State University. We do this by creating a personalized, unique, and tailored approach according to the donors' experiences and interests. Many of these donors haven't had a personalized touch from the foundation, and so it is our hopes and intentions that adding this personal touch will increase and strengthen their affinity with the university, therefore increasing their philanthropic gifts. You might wonder what it looks like for the day in the life of a DXO and how we manage a 1,000-person portfolio. We have a suite of technological tools, and we reach out to donors all virtually using emails, introduction videos such as this, which are personalized to each donor, phone calls, social media engagement, texting if possible, and video conferencing.
So they're reaching out on a multitude of channels and creating a relationship with these individuals and making sure that they feel thanked, that they feel connected to the university, and then when it's time to give again, they're ready to give again. And it's not a question of whether they'll make that gift, but it's a top priority for them to make that gift. They're doing that, they're providing this value, and they're focusing on the retention of the donors, and they're looking at reactivated and lapsed donors, as well as building out the major gift pipeline for us as we head into our next campaign. The goals of our Donor Experience Officer program are a 90% donor retention rate, 100% revenue retention rate, and reactivation of 115 donors out of their 1,000-person portfolios.
I add 5 to 10 new donors each day into the introduction cadence. I research them in our CRM database, as well as EverTrue's cloud platform, which is amazing at tracking social engagement interactions and giving us an insight about what each donor is interested in at Oregon State University. Our next steps are scheduled out for us, so we know every day what we're walking into, and it makes tracking a breeze. Again, we reach out 100% virtually. So with the transition to working from home in these uncertain times, it was almost seamless.
If they hit all of these goals for us, they will really create a rich and engaging experience for our donors that will increase their likelihood to repeat, it will increase their likelihood to increase their donations, and ensure that we're building lifelong relationships for our donors at Oregon State.
I was asked to share my favorite part of my position and the best part of my job. Hands down, it's connecting with the donors. It's hearing their stories from attending Oregon State University if they're alumni, or even sharing the reasons behind their generosity and their gifts. I get to explain the impact of that the gifts are making on our students and our university. They are appreciative of the personalized outreach and are feeling more connected with the institution.
So far, we've been very encouraged with the early results of this pilot. We're seeing activity rates at several-fold greater than what we were accomplishing before. So 4.5 times the outreach to donors through email, 4 times the outreach through other methods. Where are we going with this program? We see this program going up and down our pyramid. We see the opportunities to bring these individuals in to create a rich experience, whether it be at the principal gift level or at the annual giving level as well. Think about the time that this would save a major gift officer from those duties of having to outreach and connect and call about an event or to let them know about an article or something good news that the university is doing. This is allowing us to create a deeper relationship with our donors and alumni. Thanks again for spending some time with me today in my pool, and I hope you too can think about ways to increase the pool of donors for your university.
Cheers to the big and small accomplishments. Cheers to Evertrue for making this virtual conference happen and bringing us all together. Thank you for your time.
Just want to say thanks to Heather, Mark, and the entire OSU team, who is really swimming in these uncharted waters with us as they deepen their donor pool and they preserve their current donors, and they're really good partners and always floating new ideas to get better. Pretty good, right? I'm done? Yeah, done? Okay. Whew.
So we are working with Oregon State and a dozen other colleges to stand up and execute on these donor experience officer programs. Check out evertrue.com/premier to learn more.
And look, Raise is all about making the donor relationship personal. And we're showing you how to do it. So for the rest of the summer, you're already signed up, and we're going to send you 2 or 3 sessions a week. They're going to be short, 12 minutes, keynote workshops for you to essentially copy and steal some ideas to really personalize the donor journey, whether you work in advancement services, alumni relations, annual giving, you're in prospect research and development, a major gift officer, or anything in between those personas. We're going to help you out. If you are one of the 200 or so key decision makers that we think are tuned in, that's great. You can make all these decisions and launch a donor experience program tomorrow. That's great. But if you are someone like I was when I was working in advancement, or somebody like I am now here on the marketing team, and you want to do something different, that's really what we're all about, and that's what we're going to share with you right now, are some just really great ways to personalize the donor experience, to deliver one-on-one relationships at scale. And we're going to show you how. Like I said, that's what Raise is all about, and we're going to give shout outs to a handful of customers that you're going to hear from later on to share their success. And so, but really, I just wanted to step back and kind of start with my own customer journey with a couple of organizations. And one is Jetblue. And you remember when we used to fly and travel and go all over the country and eat unlimited Terra chips? I mean, Jetblue is pretty amazing. And they treat me really well. They'll leave notes on my seat when I come in because I'm a Mosaic member, which means I spend about $3,000 a year with them. I'm a leadership level donor, so to speak, with them. They advertise deals to my favorite destinations, which are Buffalo, Nashville, and Port-au-Prince, all for different reasons. And they really communicate with me as if I'm a person. They text me when I text, I text them and they text back to change my flight. It's an awesome experience. And then even on a small business level, I had an experience with Frugal Bookstore, which is here in Boston. It's a Black-owned business. And after George Floyd's death, they had thousands of orders for books like White Fragility. And I was one of those folks who went out and bought a book and supported their business. But publisher was sold out, and they were weeks delayed in getting us that shipment. But they took the time every week to reach out and just give us an update, to let us know that they hired new staff to try to process all these orders. They'll let us know that it was coming, give us an estimate, and really just made sure that it was a great customer experience from start to finish. And the one thing that they had in common is they're all using data. They know me, they know how I act, they know what I buy, and then they're communicating with me as if I'm a person. And I know they're doing it at scale, but it felt like a one-to-one experience. And that is something that we need to embrace. As Brent said, we're in the new normal. We are all digital gift officers now. We need to leverage data, insights, technology to build these personal relationships, to understand what our donors care about, whether it's through their giving or their social engagement or their interests or or all of the other information that you can find in EverTrue, how do we personalize that relationship to talk to them about the topics that they care about most and use technology to deliver that message? And we put together a little playbook that you can go and download right there. I'll put the URL up for a minute about how to do this and how to do this at your organization. And if you want to screenshot that, you can, and then go to the URL later. I'll also have it up after the fact. But it's really all about, what are you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do next week to change the way you raise, to choose a better way to raise? And we want to challenge you here and now to go out and start with a test. You can do something, no matter what seat you're in an organization, whether you're an assistant director that started 3 months ago, or you've been a frontline fundraiser for 30 years, you can make a change and make it personal. And it all starts with a test. And we said, pick your 100 best people, or pick your 25 best prospects. Look for the folks that are consistent donors, that are giving at good levels, that have high net worth, according to Windfall, according to the wealth insights that you can find in EverTrue, but that haven't had that one-on-one relationship yet. They're not assigned to a gift officer. They're not getting individually stewarded. They're just getting postcards in the alumni magazine in the mail. Pick 100 people, pick 25 people, pick 10 people, and start with the test. And then plan, what are the steps that you're going to do to try to engage these folks? You got to start with thanks, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but what are the impact stories that you can share? What's on your school's YouTube channel? What's in your organization's magazine? What's on the social media pages that really illustrate these lives being changed that you can share with these donors that align with their interests? And, you're going to have to track your outreach. So you can do this right in EverTrue. You can create lists or use the portfolio function to say, okay, here's my pool of 100 people, and these people I've sent a video to, and this people I've sent an impact story to, and these people we've had a meeting with, and you can set that all up yourself to really track the progression of these 25, 50, 100 people that you're going to reach out to personally to make a difference for. And lead with thanks. I know we had a great session in March when COVID shut everything down with Lynn Wester, and she talked about the importance of stewardship. And we know through our work with great organizations like OSU and Western Kentucky and Emory and all of Louisiana Tech and all these amazing organizations that donor retention is a critical metric. We have to focus on retention. And the best way to retain somebody is to thank them, to make them feel like a person, to show them that you know them and you know their support. So lead with thanks. And then it's all about radical personalization. I'm going to share 5 examples that we're going to have in the Summer of Raise, but I'm going to give you tips right now that you can apply at your own organization. So for example, when COVID hit, our friends at West Point called every single alum. They said, okay, we're stopping as a team. We're going to call everybody and just ask how we can help. And they help people. They delivered beer because somebody joked and said he was out of beer, but more importantly, they connected people to job opportunities and career mentors, and even started food chains for people that just needed a little help during this difficult time. At Florida State, they're doing amazing work thinking outside of the traditional approach to segmentation, thinking beyond class year and beyond college or major. And they're looking at what people are engaged with online, where their interests lie, and then they're delivering segmentation appeals that match to those interests. And they're seeing tremendous results. The major gift team at UC Berkeley, normally soliciting, closing $100,000 gifts, are turning their attention this summer to donor identification, qualification, and prospecting by doing exactly what we're talking about now. Each of those gift officers is taking a handful of folks, and they're a handful of folks that have made $1,000 gifts regularly but haven't received any one-on-one outreach, and they're just saying thanks. What are you interested in? What problems would you like to solve, and how can we help? And I guarantee you they're going to add prospects to their portfolio and close some significant gifts through that outreach. At Wisconsin, they sent an individual thank you, personalized video to every single one of their 35,000 donors from students. That is crazy, and it's had some crazy results. And can't wait to hear about how they're personalizing the outreach. But you can send a thank you video just with your phone to those 25, those 50, those 100 people, and make a difference in their donor experience. And then, shout out to Ann Dean and the prospect development team at George Washington University, which has thought differently about how they want to build donor lists and build pipeline. They started with interest. Who might be interested in the baseball program? Who might be interested in this residence hall? And then looked for capacity and affinity and all those other good things. They got proactive about prospect discovery and helped their team assign 90 new prospects and create $6 million in gift pipeline. That's closing soon. It's going to be awesome. So you're going to hear from all those speakers and so many more. So what you need to do right now is open up your calendar and block off 45 minutes each of the next 5 weeks. 45 minutes each of the next 5 weeks. Invite your team, invite a teammate, make it during your coffee break or your lunch break, or do it on a Friday afternoon, because Fridays are a great time to watch some videos and get inspired. And we're going to send you content each week for you to learn from, to put into practice as we all choose a better way to raise together. And I challenge each and every one of you, and challenge myself too, because we have got to do whatever it takes. Just like Josh Newton said in the kickoff, we have got to do whatever it takes to make giving feel personal, to make our donors know that they're making an impact. And I just want to give a shout out to Haley at Western Kentucky, who went out to one of her prospects, she's the DXO there, and picked up a check in person and made that woman smile and feel special. And she did it socially distanced with her mask on, and that's amazing. We have to do things like that, write letters, make videos, do whatever it takes to make that personal impact so clear and so apparent, and make our donors know that we know them. And then it's about demonstrating results. Next year, 1 of every 3 people that gave to your institution will not make a gift again. So if you take 100 people, that means about 40 of them won't give again. So if you do this personal outreach and 70 of them give, you made a difference. You got bigger results. You need to demonstrate that. You need to be able to show the rest of your team, hey, this approach works. Look at what I'm doing. Let's all do this. And make a difference for the lives of our students and for those that depend on the support of our organizations. And it's about demonstrating the results too. Who are the Kennys that say, wow, thank you. Let's talk. Thank you for making me feel special. There's quantitative ROI and there's qualitative too. And it's all about demonstrating those results. And I know that we can do it together. And so we've given you a playbook. We're giving you tons of information how to do it. You need to set aside time to go and choose a better way to raise, to choose to raise differently, and choose to give donors a better experience. And that's what we're all about. That's what EverTrue is all about. That's what Raise is all about. And that's the end of my live rant, my live talk, my live call to action and call to arms. So yeah, whew. I don't remember where we're going next. Do you?
I got you, Mike. No, I think, Raise is all about great ideas. And I feel super inspired when customers have immediate takeaways that they can start working on tomorrow. Fridays are great days to start working on things, but we're going to give you ideas that you can use all summer long. So through the course of the next few weeks, we're going to send out 25 videos on a weekly basis to inspire you, that are going to showcase teams that are creating amazing personalized relationships with their donors, and they'll show you how to do it as well. It's going to be great.
It's going to be so awesome. I have had the privilege of sitting in on almost all of these sessions, and I have learned so much, and I know that everybody who dedicates that time will too. And we're going to share some more ideas coming up next, right?
Yes, absolutely. We can't not show you or give you a sneak peek of what's coming. So we'll share some highlights of the sessions that you can expect during the summer of Raise. So grab your notepads and let's watch.
Every donor is a unique superhero with our organization. Some have fancy wristbands like Wonder Woman, some have capes like Superman, some of them are the Green Goblin, and we really need to think through that each and every donor is a unique human being, a unique entity.
Video is just a medium that is very engaging and engrossing and really lets you, again, put a face and a voice to your message in a way that just no other medium can. But the purpose of doing all this, whether you are thanking people, giving them updates, sharing impact stories, or asking for a donation, is because we're all looking to, create a great, strong foundation to that relationship so that it's something that is two-way. So this is not about always asking and expecting to receive, but it's also about giving back and doing it in a way that's really going to engage the people that you're looking to build that relationship with.
What we're not going to do is rest. What we're not going to do is settle. And what we're not going to do is be complacent. What we're going to do is transform our industry and bring more support to Louisiana Tech than has ever been brought here before.
But from this point forward, I want us all in the same style, the same framework of saying, this is how we're going to do it. And we have embraced it. And that was changing metrics, that was changing interactions within our database. That was me, again, getting out of this. I wish we could go back and be in the same room. That was me telling big and bold stories about my engagement opportunities on Zoom with donors, and just really changing the lens through which we view this as this is our life. And instead of dealing with it, quote unquote, it's time to be the best in our peer group or the best in our industry at this.
I think every institution has heard that our donors want to know, they want to feel connection with the institution that they're giving to. They want to be engaged, and from a small shop, we're only 8 people. How can we do that in an easy way? And be genuine about it, and not just a personal, merge field of dear Kevin. That we need to learn about our donors. We need to know what they want in order to keep them.
I'm Ann Dean, Managing Director of Research and Relationship Management at the George Washington University. Come and join me virtually at Raise this summer. We're going to be talking about how GW found almost 800 new prospects totaling over $300 million in 3 different, really distinct, unique projects that are still ongoing. Really excited to have you join me.
Asking for help without being cloying and too needy is the way to go as well, because we're all learning on the job and we're all learning new stuff. And sometimes it's okay to fly blind. Most times it's good to ask somebody, whether it's a manager or a colleague, saying, I've never done this before. Are there any secrets I should know? And ask questions. Just be ready to ask questions so there are no surprises when it comes to the performance.
Let's do this. Summer of Raise.
Summer of Raise!
Woo!
I'm gonna just go right down the middle and just.
I can't believe you're doing this. Yeah, I can't believe either. Why would you do this?
It's the Summer of Raise.
Summer of Raise.
This has been so much fun. We have the debut of a new band, CB Radio, which comes up at the end. So if you're still with us, and thank you for being with us for 2 hours, we got that coming. And like I said earlier, I had the privilege of sitting down and getting to watch and interview people for these sessions. And it is absolutely phenomenal content, and we're so excited to be able to share it.
Yeah, that's the best part. We're not done yet. You can't get rid of us. We have weekly sessions that are going to be relevant, they're going to be impactful, and they're going to challenge you to find a better way to raise. So this would be the part of the conversation where we talk about awards. Mike, we had such an overwhelming response.
Y'all blew our minds. It was unbelievable.
It was mind-blowing and so much fun to see everybody engaging. So we're going to go back, crunch some numbers, and don't worry, we will be in touch with all of our winners, and we'll make sure to announce them on social as well so you can celebrate them and potentially try to pawn some ice cream off of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Ice cream, swag, all that kind of stuff coming your way. Before we head out to CB Radio, I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Windfall, always up to date, Net Worth and Insights, ThankView, where you can create and send personalized video messages for stewardship and fundraising, and Emma, which is hands down the best email marketing platform that's designed specifically for higher education. Also, shout out to our Boston-based production crew, 5 Tools Productions. They're phenomenal. Shout out to Brent in his RV and fishing, all of the Evertrue. And Megan, thank you so much for joining me for the last 2 hours. It's been awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. And remember, stay tuned to evertrue.com/raise2020 for great sessions each and every week. So stay safe, raise well, and we'll see you soon.
Spend our days at the summer